Julian Nagelsmann just got Hamburger promoted to the Bundesliga, and he's gonna experience his very first season as a manager in a top 5 league. But before that happens, we desperately need some signings. We bring in experienced winger Alireza Jahanbakhsh on a free from Dutch side Feyenoord, Van der Bremt on a permanent transfer from RB Salzburg after a very successful loan last season, and the final piece of business we do is that we bring in Nelson Viper for 9.5 million from Mainz. That is one hell of a signing if you ask me. We have had to sell our arguably best player last season in Robert Glatzel to Leicester for 10 million to make it happen though. But I think that's a very good trade.
Well, hang on, you've just...
No, I like it. This is brilliant, but I like this.
The fixtures for the upcoming Bundesliga season has just been released, and we've got Bayern at home in the first game back at the top level in 6 seasons. It's gonna be a difficult game, but what a return it could be. Before that though, we played Dritte Liga side Holstein Kiel in the DFB Pokal. There was literally only one highlight for the game, and that was this goal from Ludovic Reis. So we move on to the second round after a 1-0 win, where we'll face VfL Osnabrück. They're the only side left from the Dritte Liga, so that's gone as well as it could have gone. The day before our season opener against Bayern, our goalie Daniel Fernandes got injured. He's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a twisted ankle, which means our backup Matteo Raab has to step in. Now though, it's time for our Bundesliga return. It starts horribly as Coman scores for Bayern after just 6 minutes. Kane then hit the bar from this header. Substitute Bakary Jatta then scored for us in the 62nd. An incredible through ball from Reis meant it was an easy job for Jatta. Straight from kickoff, Harry Kane had this huge chance, but he somehow put it wide. There were no other highlights, so we draw against Bayern in our return to the Bundesliga. What a result! In the second league game against Bochum, we took an early lead after 14 minutes through Nelson Viper, who got his first goal for the club. We had plenty of chances, including a pen which Viper missed and 2 woodwork hits. And then in the 83rd, Bochum got this extremely soft pen, which they scored. They then scored again through Oerman as we were asleep, so we lose 2-1.
I'm taking a nap!
You wanna take a nap?
I'm taking a nap here.
Okay, take a nap right there then.
Good night.
Against Frankfurt in the third game, they scored their only chance, which was this pen in the 80th. So we lose 1-0. And it didn't get better against Mönchengladbach as they smashed us 3-0. Despite being in the relegation zone after 4 games, I got a new 3-year contract, so I'm gassed. But we desperately need to improve, so I've made a few tweaks to the tactic.
But I cannot see, I'm legally blind.
We can't really play an attractive brand of football as a newly promoted team, and we'll have to bide our time. So I've made Van der Bremt a wingback on support, Ramos a no-nonsense centre-back on stopper, and Meffert a DM on defend. There were some positives in the next game as we drew 2-2 against Union Berlin. Benes and Nemeth were our goal scorers in a game we might even have deserved more. The next game we only lost 1-0 to Freiburg, but we're just not creating near enough to get the results we need. So I once again decided to change the tactic, and this time the shape. I changed to a trusty 4-2-3-1 as I moved Benes up as an attacking mid instead of a centre mid. And that worked in the next game against Dortmund. Jatta had a big chance after 14 minutes, but Kobel pulled off this insane save to deny him. 5 minutes later though, Reis scored with this neat finish from a short free kick. Dortmund had only one chance the whole half, which Füllkrug blasted over. But in the 58th, Beno Gittens scored for Dortmund. That ended up being the final result as well. So we draw against Dortmund. That's a great result, and especially considering the start we've had. Now at this point, I had a big opportunity ahead of me. I decided to sell our arguably best player Laszlo Benes for 11 million to Al Nassr. And to replace him, I'm bringing in wonderkid Chanusen from Nürnberg for as little as 7.5 million. I think it's brilliant business, as Benes is aging slightly, but it could come back to bite me as we might lack experience in the side. Away to Leipzig, we actually took an early lead just 7 minutes in, but Openda equalized 5 minutes later. In the 68th, Meffert quite literally gave away the ball, so Werner went and scored. In the 76th though, Benes played this brilliant pass through to Viper, who lobs it over Gulakshi in such a graceful way to equalize. Both teams then hit woodwork right before the end, but the match ended 2-2. is another brilliant result against a top team. We once again took the lead early on in our next game against Bayer Leverkusen. But once again as well, we conceded not long after. And just 3 minutes after that again, Jata scored to give us the lead again. But as usual, we do something stupid which gives them a goal. Fernandez dropped the ball when claiming a cross, so we draw once again. As much as it's annoying to draw when you take the lead twice, it is a good result against yet another top side. We've picked up points against all the 4 best teams in the league, so I'm happy with that. But we also need to start winning some games, man.
I just hope we can win a game.
The next game we did win, but it's not in the league. Either way, we won 2-0 against Osnabrück in the second round of the DFB Pokal as Viper and Rice scored our goals late on. And for the third round, we've been drawn against Stuttgart. It's gonna be a difficult game, but I think we could take it. The next game, guess what we did? We drew. 2-2 against Heidenheim in a game we threw away a 2-0 lead. So after 10 league games, we're in 16th. We've drawn 6 games and lost 4. We're so close to winning every single game, but we somehow managed to bottle it every time. Like every game except for the 3-0 hammering to Mönchengladbach has been closely contested matches which just haven't gone in our favor.
Yeah, right.
We lose the next 2 games against Augsburg and Mainz. First, we lost 1-0 in a game we had 2.11 xG and Augsburg had 0.34. I think that sums it up, to be honest. We then lost 2-1 to Mainz in a game we had the lead and where Mainz scored the winner in the 88th. Oh, and by the way, Johan Baksh has also been injured on Iran duty and he's out for 3 to 4 months.
You're a donut! You're so stupid! You're so stupid! You're stupid! Dumb!
Now we'd face Stuttgart twice in the space of 4 days. First in the DFB Pokal and then in the league. Not a lot happened in normal time in the Pokal, so to extra time it went. There, Stuttgart got a very cheap pen. But thank all that is almighty, because Fernandez saved it. And in the 119th minute, Ferrari drove with the ball down the left-hand side and put a lofted cross into the box, which met the head of Andras Nemeth. So we're through to the quarters. But then, 4 days later, we got smashed 3-0 by the exact same team. I think that's a good summary of our season so far. The positive thing now though is that Mikael Seifert, our centre-back wonder kid, is old enough to play first team football, and he started in the Pokal against Stuttgart, which made him the youngest ever player in the competition at 16 years and 21 days old. And staying with the Pokal theme, we've been drawn away to Hoffenheim in the quarters, and I think we have a genuine chance of reaching the semis. The youth intake preview has also just come in, and it's looking good once again. We've got ace at both strikers and wingbacks. Against Wolfsburg in the next game, we got smashed 4-1 as they scored 4 from 1.5 xG. We are so open at the back, so I've changed the tactic once again. I've realized that the only way we stay up is if we play a 5-back. I don't really want to play a 5-back, but we have to be more defensively solid if we're gonna survive. So we're going to a 5-2-1-2 and hopefully we won't concede as many goals as we have done. Now we're facing Hoffenheim in the 15th league game and we take the lead after just 5 minutes. We dominated the game and had plenty of chances, but we kept missing. Or like here where Viper's pinky toe is offside, so it gets disallowed. The new formation kept Hoffenheim clear of our goal for the whole game, and they didn't even have a proper chance. So we finally win our first game of the season. That is so important.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
But against Köln in the final game before the Christmas break, we lose 1-0 as Selke scored this shite deflected goal. So when I came back from the match, the board were waiting for me. They held a meeting with me over my future at the club, and I promised them that things will improve in the next month. I genuinely don't know if it will, but I have no other choice than to say so. Now the new year has come around.
I'll sing a nursery song and then you complete it for me, okay? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And Happy New Year.
We brought in quite a lot of players. You already know about Benes out and Chanuzon in, but we've also sold our goalie Daniel Fernandez to Empoli for 8 million. And I've brought in Zach Steffen from Colorado Rapids for 6.25 million. I think it's a good move, but only time will tell. We've also signed former Spurs player Victor Wanyama on a free, and we've brought in Senio van Huisten on loan from Inter. So hopefully these signings can make something happen in the next month, so that I can keep my job and keep Hamburger up. The first game back from Christmas is Schalke away, which is a must win. I'm quite literally fighting for my job here. After 36 seconds, Småen got injured, so Katterbach had to come on. But that didn't matter, as we scored after 17 minutes. Schallenberg and Hollebach had a chance each, but they both missed. And after a post hit from Königsdorfer, we win 1-0 against Schalke. That might just be the most important win ever. So at the halfway point of the 17 league games, we're in 17. It's quite bad, but we have picked up 6 points in the last 3 games, so things are picking up. And I strongly believe we can avoid relegation quite comfortably in this second half of the season. Against Bochum, we take an early 2-0 lead as both Viper and Van Huisten score from Van der Bremt's corners. But 2 minutes after Van Huisten's goal, Vitek scored this outrageous long-range free kick. 10 minutes into the second half, we score again to make it 3-1. Schonlau was the goal scorer and it was from another corner. After hitting the post from a free kick in the 74th, Chanuzon finally got his goal from a dead ball in the 89th with this brilliant goal. Bochum then scored straight from kickoff to make it 4-2, but they couldn't get any more, as we win 4-2. Such an important win.
We're gonna win so much, you may even get tired of winning!
The next game though, we lose deservedly 3-0 away to Bayern. I mean, what can you do against them, bro? But after that game, the board said they're delighted with my leadership over the last month. And I'm keeping my job. Let's go! And let's go for Bundesliga 2025-26. Ahead of the next game, I told Nemeth he had to improve on his recent performances, as he hadn't scored or assisted or really performed in any way in a long while. He took that chat and doubled down on it, as he scored the only goal in a 1-0 win against Frankfurt. Now that's how you take criticism. It's time for the quarterfinal of the Pokal, and we're facing Hoffenheim. We dominated the whole game. Königsdorfer opened the scoring, Giramos doubled it, and Nemeth scored a brace to make it 4. Bayer did score a deflected goal for Hoffenheim, but we win 4-1 and we're through to the semi-final of the cup. And by the way, it's such a robbery. We scored 4 goals from 1.4 xg. In the semis though, we'll face Hertha Berlin, who are in the Zweite Bundesliga, so we have a very good chance of getting to the final. Against Mönchengladbach in the 21st league game, we lose 1-0 as Amoako gave the ball away and Steffen had a howler as they scored this outrageous goal.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
The next game against Union Berlin can only be described as nuts. Chanuzon and Rice scored early on to give us a 2-goal lead. Union Berlin then missed a pen and scored 3 times in a span of 15 minutes. In the second half, we scored through Rice on an open goal. Jahanbach from Steffen's assist. And Nemeth as their goalie tried claiming it but failed. So now it's 5-3 and I thought it was wrapped up. But boy was I wrong. Haberer scored in the 91st and Khedira scored in the 94th. So we drew 5-5 against Union Berlin. Such a nuts game and also disappointing to give up a 2-goal lead twice.
What the hell was that?
Another must-win game is next, as we face relegation rivals Freiburg. Viper gave us an early lead, which was erased not even 2 minutes later. Gunther then scored right before the break to give them the lead. But thankfully, we scored right after the breakthrough at ice. And in the 59th, Viper scored this header from Meffert's cross. Nothing else happened, so we win 3-2 against Freiburg. That might just be the difference between relegation and staying up. Against Dortmund in the 24th game, Meffert got a straight red card at 1-0 down, so he made it impossible to get anything out of the game. So we lost 4-0 in the end.
No. Anyway.
At home against RB Leipzig, Viper scored after 48 seconds. Nemeth picked up a loose header from Raum and Viper scored his header. Nothing really happened until Leipzig got this bullshit pen where Katterbach literally tackled the ball. But Openda scored it and that was the final result. So we draw 1-1 against Leipzig. It is a very good result, but I'm just so pissed off about that pen. After 25 league games though, we're still in 17th. We have just dropped down from 15th though, and there's only 5 points up to 10th. It's the tightest league I've seen. And just to give you a picture of it, there's only 10 points from last place, 18th, up to the Europa League spots in 6th. That's outrageous. The next game we lose 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen in a game we at least deserved a draw. We had 1.55 xG and they had 1.05. After that though, we'd face Heidenheim in a relegation derby. We dominated the game and won 3-0 in the end as Viper scored a brace and Nemeth got the final one. Before the semi-final of the DFB Pokal, the next gen for 2025 came out, and Chanusen is 17th. That's insane, and I did not know he was that much of a talent. But that talent really showed up against Hertha Berlin. Chanusen scored in 18th, before Viper scored 10 minutes later. Chanusen then scored again in the 31st. We then gave away our 3-goal lead as Hertha scored in the 34th, 47th, 69th and 91st. What the hell, man? But we got a highlight straight from kickoff and Chanusen scored to complete his hat-trick. But Suat Serdar scored for Hertha in the 94th to knock us out. I mean, fair play to Hertha, but that's an annoying way of getting knocked out. The next 3 games we pick up 3 good results. First, we draw 0-0 away to Augsburg in a game we really should have lost. We then won 3-0 against Mainz at home. They got a straight red for this challenge after 6 minutes, so it was an easy job from there. Rice got a brace and Viper got the final one. We then won 2-1 against Hoffenheim in a must-win game to avoid relegation. Van der Bremt scored after this insane run from Nemeth, and then the former delivered a corner which Viper scored. So after 30 league games, we're in 12th. What a turnaround! We only need 4 points from our last 4 games to secure our place, and that is extremely achievable. Just on a side note, Nürnberg have just beaten Bayern in the semi-final of the Pokal. And there are 2 Zweite Bundesliga sides in the final. That means that there will be a second-tier side in the Europa League next season, since neither team are getting promoted.
Sorry, what?
The next game, Wonderkid goalie Simon had an insane performance. He made sure we didn't score, so it ended 0-0. I'm very happy with that though, considering they're in 5th. Against Wolfsburg, we just about lose 1-0. We scored an offside goal and hit the bar in the 89th. But we do still only need 1 win to secure our place. An offside goal for each team was the way the second to last game of the season started, against Köln. They then took a commanding 3-0 lead in the next 25 minutes. We scored one right before the break, but they scored again in the 61st. We did bring it back to 4-3 after scoring in the 71st and 88th, but Köln then scored again in the 89th to make it 5-3 as the final result. They scored 5 goals from just over 2 xG, bro. What the hell? The last game of the season is at home to Schalke. We need a win to be completely secure from relegation, but as long as Freiburg lose away to Leipzig, we are secure even if we lose. So there's good odds of us staying up. After just 12 minutes, Viper played this great ball over the top to Nemeth, and he made no mistake as he scored with a secure finish to give us the lead. Navarro then scored for Schalke in the 64th. But Freiburg are 5-0 down away to Leipzig, so a draw is enough for us. And that's exactly what happened. We draw 1-1 against Schalke. After the finished league season, we end up in 13th. It's a decent season where we achieved our goals. Eventually, that is. And we also got to the semi-final of the DFB Pokal. It is a good season all in all, but I did have a small hope of getting a bit further up the table, but when I think about it, it was kind of just wishful thinking. The board is delighted with us becoming an established Bundesliga team a year ahead of schedule. We're apparently an established side when we avoid relegation by 2 points. They've also given us our initial budgets for next season, and it's decent but not mind-blowing. It's 8.61 million in transfer budget and 675k in wage budget. It's definitely something we can work with.